They are powerful leaders, trailblazers, dynamic and determined women. Our Sheroes, we celebrate them as part of Women's History Month.
Hello, Judge Adams. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's good to see you, Madam State's Attorney.
It's wonderful to see you too. And I have to tell you that, while I don't technically have a boss in the courthouse, I feel like we all work for you. and it's great to have such great leadership in Prince George's County, especially in our judicial system. So thank you so much for your leadership there.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So we're celebrating the accomplishments of amazing, brilliant women like you during this month of March, Women's History Month. Can you tell us what this month means to you?
Well, Women's History Month, it's an opportunity to share the accomplishments of women in order to help the next generation. You don't really realize when you're doing things that you're making such a difference, but when it gives people, young women, an opportunity to look and say, my dreams are possible, and give them an opportunity to make those dreams a reality. That's what it means to me. Time for us to stop for a minute and just to look at all the women around the world, not just in this county, not in this country, but all the women around the world now that are making a difference. And it's just so amazing.
You were a big trailblazer here in Prince George's County, running our courthouse and really helping to be the architect, or one of the architects of our justice system. So I know that you've accomplished so much. I mean, you were an assistant state's attorney. I mean, you've done so many things. Can you tell me, what is maybe one or two things that you are most proud of that you accomplished during your time?
My greatest accomplishment, or the thing that I'm most proud of, is going to sound very selfish, but it's my marriage. My marriage and my family, because I think in order to do things, to go out here in this world and deal with all these issues, you have to have a foundation at home. And I was very fortunate in life that I waited, I searched. I didn't get married till I was 37 years old, until I found that person that I felt magic with. I say that because I think that's real important in our journey as women, if that's what our choice is. So that my marriage and my family are one of the things I'm most proud of in my life. But professionally, I must say this courthouse, because I came to this courthouse with a totally different perspective because, I had this construction background, and this courthouse just meant so much in the growth of it because, when I first came to this courthouse, it was a small little courthouse in the Ballway. It looked like every other little small county in Maryland. But this courthouse really has two faces, and it really shows this county, the rural side when you come down Main Street, and the urban side when you come down Pennsylvania Avenue. But it shows how we have grown and expanded. And when I came to this courthouse and I saw the development of this county, I realized we had to take that charge to the county and the ones that could provide the funding to make. No, we needed a larger courthouse in order to support this community. And that truly has been part of my journey here, making sure that we had the infrastructure and facilities in order to better serve this community from a justice perspective.
Absolutely. And, included in the walls that you've built here, we have things like the Family Justice Center. We have our problem-solving courts. Because you saw the importance of growing the footprint of the courthouse, we can serve our victims a lot better. And so thank you for having that foresight, because you're right, if we would have stayed sort of the small-minded, small little courthouse, we probably wouldn't have been able to serve the people who we are serving now.
Absolutely. Because, at that time, we were growing by leaps and bounds. This county just had a tremendous growth in population. And so we had to also have the infrastructure in which to serve them, because with population comes litigation, comes everything else. And they all centered, whether you want to believe it or not, around this building. We touch every aspect of society in this building.
In this building, you're absolutely right. So tell me, you're a woman in this space, and we've seen women lawyers, women judges, but you're really one of the first women who reached real power in our justice system. And the way I look at it as like no one does it better, but I'm sure there were challenges. And so I wanted to know, were there challenges you faced as a woman, especially, being a young woman, because you're still very young, being a young woman in such leadership positions?
I can't really give a direct answer to that question, because I don't always look at things as challenges. Mm-hmm. And not just challenges based on race and gender. I realize others interacting with me over the years may have had opinions regarding, who I am because I am a woman, or because I'm a Black woman, more importantly. But I always felt that the best way to deal with those challenges or opinions people may have had of me was to use my God-given talents to work as hard as I can, to be as creative as I know that I can be, and just to work with others. So, yeah, there have been challenges, but everybody has challenges. Right. And I just never dwell in that. I just dwell on what I know I can do, what I know I can accomplish, and what I can, and then I always found even people who may have doubted me because they didn't know who I was or what I could do, once they learned me or worked around me, we got things done. And it didn't matter that I was the Black woman in the room or the woman in the room. We just kind of got things done. So that's always been my mantra. And when I couldn't work things out, I said a prayer and gave it to a being higher than me. And that always seemed to work out just well too.
Yeah, faith is so important. I have to tell you, in this role, I tell people it's one of the most humbling roles to have. And I think as judges too, in so many ways, you hold people's fate in your hands in so many ways. And so there is a lot of power in that. But for me, I find it very, very humbling, because what you recognize is that you have been placed in a position because you have an assignment. Mm-hmm. and making sure that you fulfill that assignment is so critical. And I think when I have seen your body of work and the things that you have done and the issues you've taken up, what I can see is really a manifestation of the assignment that you were given, shown through the work that you've done. So can you talk a little bit about problem solving courts here in Prince George's County? I mean, I think we have the most expansive in the state, and why that was so important to you.
Okay. Well, one thing I noticed early on being a judge is that, you have to look at each case that comes in front of you, each person. And as people come, and each case in front of you is the most important case in the world at that moment, because it is to the individual in front of you. But I also realized that people weren't statistics, and it wasn't a cookie cutter scenario with it. It wasn't just what the statute said that you had to impose because of the crime they committed. We had to look at the human being. We had to look at the community, and the fact that you can lock somebody up, but if you haven't addressed the issues that brought them into the courtroom, they're going to continue to come back and back and back. And I saw it time and time again. Now, we could either continue down that path, or we could try to make a difference, not just in the life of the person in front of me, but that life affected another life, that affected a wife or child or a mother or father or sister, brother. It affects our community. So that's why it was so important for me to make sure that we had every conceivable type of problem-solving court available to our citizens here in Prince George's County. Now, before I became administrative judge, we had the drug court. The drug court has been active in our county for now 20 years, and it's done amazing jobs. And we had the juvenile drug court. But I saw a need for a reentry court because we had so many young men and women that are incarcerated and are involved in that recidivism. Recidivism, not because they don't want to do better, but recidivism because of all the issues that affect anybody coming out of jail in our community. And if we don't kind of give them a path or give them the guidance or support to stay on the right track, you will go back. And not because they want to go back, because sometimes they feel they have no choice. Because when they come out, they have no place to live. They can knock on doors and door and door and door again, and they keep getting told no because nobody wants to employ them because they have this stripe across them that I've been convicted. And as if that defines them for the rest of their life. Well, it doesn't. Everybody, come on. We all have done things in our life that you wish, oh my God, I wish I wouldn't. If that was blasted across the world, then what would people think of me? But think about somebody's made a bad choice or whatever, and then that defines them for the rest of their life. So now don't get me wrong, there are some horrific offenses, and there's some horrific offenses that people may need to do life. But the majority of people who are incarcerated will come back out. So when they come back out, we have to have a plan to reintegrate them into society. We have to have a plan to assist them in finding a place to live and finding a way to support themselves and their family so they can reestablish themselves in the community and be productive citizens in our community. Our community depends on it, our children depend on it, and our citizenry depends on it. So that's why reentry was so important to me. Now, Veterans Court was so important to me because you travel around the world, you put your life on the line in defense of this country, and then we turn our back on you when you come home. You know, sometimes people come back with all types of post-traumatic stress, and we haven't dealt with that. And when they don't know how to deal with it, sometimes it manifests itself into criminal activity or just stupid decisions that bring them before the criminal justice system. So I wanted to put a court in place that could kind of get them back on track. We have mentors in that court that partner them with other veterans and help them through the system and help them obtain the resources that they are entitled to because they are a veteran. We had a man, and this is timely because Judge Woodard just is retiring tomorrow. But one of her first cases was a man who came in the Veterans Court who was a Vietnam vet who had never figured out how to attach his benefits. He came through drug court and working through that program, we were able to retroactively get his benefits.
Wow.
And he is now living his life. So that's what Veterans Court, that's what Problem Solving Courts does. It's a team of people that works with citizens to get their life back on track.
That's amazing. And that's justice. I mean, what you're talking about right now is delivering justice in a way that maybe people don't traditionally think, but it is so important. And you're right, you know, our veterans, people who have other, you know, cognitive disabilities and issues that, you know, if we can just help point them in the right direction sometimes, we won't ever have to see them again in a negative way. So I, you know, like I said, you know, it's nothing like having the servant leadership that is displayed in Prince George's County Courthouse. Like, that is true servant leadership. You recognize the need, you figured out a way to fulfill that need, and people are thriving as a result of it. You know, we have, you know, another amazing woman in our country, our vice president. She's going to play she has played and will continue to play a very significant role in the future of our country. You know, can you talk about how important it is to have, that influence of a woman in positions of power, and why that dynamic, why opening up the doors of leadership to everyone, regardless of their gender, is so critical.
So first of all, I'm so proud to have Kamala Harris as our vice president. And I'm so proud to see so many women in positions of leadership now. Because when you think about our country and our society, last time I checked, the majority are female.
Good point.
And we need to know, and our daughters need to know, and our young girls need to know that they can do anything they put their minds to. There's no limit. And we need to have women at the table, because the decisions that are made at the table affect society, affect what our daughters do, what our women do, what our colleagues do, what our citizens do. So we need to have a diverse representation at all levels of government so that we can adequately address the needs of all citizens. So that's why I think it's so important to have a Kamala Harris as vice president, and maybe one day as president, but right now to have a Kamala Harris as vice president, and to have women at all levels of decision making in our society.
Absolutely.
And we bring a different flavor to the table, you know.
I agree.
Flavor to the table.
Well, I really want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to chat with me today. And I just want you to just, if you want to, just give one, inspirational thought and message to the women out there who, maybe they're struggling a little bit. Maybe they don't have a direction right now, or they're still trying to figure out what to do with their life. Like, what is something that you would encourage them to do? What's some advice you would give them?
And I often think about that, particularly for the young women out there who maybe feel they don't have anybody. There's something we do in some of our problem-solving courts, which is a vision board,
Mm-hmm.
And, right now you have faces of Kamala Harris, Aisha Braveboy, Angela Brooks, people in our society that are doing things. Go on your magazines, get a vision board of where you want to be, and put it out there in your vision. And look in the mirror at yourself and tell yourself every day that you are a blessing, you are loved, and that you are powerful, and you are a powerful being from a powerful legacy. Tell yourself that each and every day. And if you doubt it, then spend some time to read about your history and understand the legacy that you are a product of now. And when you understand who you are with every crinkle and curve that you have, you won't help but love yourself. And I think that's what's important for our young women, that we have to learn to love ourselves for who we are, exactly as we are. And when we love every aspect of who we are, then you can go out there in the world and deal with anything or anybody, because it's okay to be exactly as you are. And to me, that self-confidence is what is so important. And once you have it, you can do anything.
Wow. I thought you were speaking to me. So thank you very much, Judge. But those are incredible words. And I know that when our young girls and young women hear this, I think that they will take heed to exactly what you said. That vision board idea is so important. Loving yourself is critical, and just knowing that you can do it, that it's within you to do. So thank you so much for everything that you've done and continue to do for our community. And I appreciate you taking time today to talk to me.
My pleasure, Aisha. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you so much.